Report Disaster at Ionith by Lord Potrade, Chairman. An Imperial scripted dispatch concerning Uriel V's invasion of Akavir. Part 4. Conclusion. The Commission believes that the invasion of Akavir was doomed from the start for several reasons, none of which could have been foreseen beforehand, unfortunately. Despite extensive intelligence gathering, the Expeditionary Force was clearly unprepared for the situation in Akavir. The unexpected weather which plagued the army and navy was particularly disastrous. Without the loss of a majority of the Far East fleet during the campaign, the Expeditionary Force could have been withdrawn in 289. The weather also forced the Emperor to assign most of his battle-mage corps to the fleet, leaving him without their valuable assistance during the fighting which soon followed. And of course, the unexpected drought which struck Ionith during 289 dashed the hopes of supplying the army locally, and left the Expeditionary Force in an untenable situation when besieged in Ionith. The Tseski were also much stronger than intelligence reports had suggested. Information on the size of the army the Tseski were eventually able to field against the Expeditionary Force is vague, as the only serious fighting took place after regular communications were cut off between the Emperor and the Council. Nevertheless, it seems likely that the Tseski outnumbered the Emperor's forces by several times, as they were able to force 4 crack legions into retreat and then keep them under siege for several months. As was stated previously, the Commission declines to criticize the initial decision to invade Akavir. Based on what was known at the time, the plan seemed sound. It is only with the benefit of hindsight does it become obvious that the invasion had very little chance of success. Nevertheless, the Commission believes several valuable lessons can be taken from this disaster. First, the Tseski may have extremely powerful arcane forces at their command. The possibility that they may have manipulated the weather across such a vast region seems incredible, and it should be noted that 3 commissioners strongly object to this paragraph even being included in this report. But the Commission believes that this matter deserves urgent investigation. The potential danger is such that even the slight possibility must be taken seriously. Second, the Tseski appear to possess no navy to speak of. The Expeditionary Force was never threatened by sea, and the Far East fleet fought nothing but the weather. Indeed, initial plans called for a portion of the fleet to remain in Akavir for use in coastal preparations, but in the event there were very few places where the large vessels of the fleet could approach the land, due to the innumerable reefs, sandbars, islands, etc. that infested the coastal waters north and south from Septimia. Due to the utter lack of trees in the plain around Septimia and Ionith, the Expeditionary Force was unable to build smaller vessels which could have navigated the shallow coastal waters. Any future military expeditions against Akavir would do well to consider some way of bringing a means of inshore naval operations in order to exploit this clear advantage over the Tseski, an advantage that was sadly unexploited by the Expeditionary Force. Third, much longer-term study needs to be made of Akavir before another invasion could even be contemplated. The information gathered over the 4 years prior to the invasion was extensive, but clearly inadequate. The weather conditions were completely unexpected, the Tseski much stronger than expected, and the attempted negotiations by the Emperor with the Tseski a disaster. Akavir proved alien beyond expectation, and the Commission believes any future attempt to invade Akavir should not be contemplated without much greater knowledge of the conditions, politics, and peoples of that continent than presently obtains. Finally, the Commission unanimously concludes that given what we know now, any attempt to invade Akavir is folly, at least in the present state of the Empire. The Empire's legions are needed at home. One day, a peaceful, united empire will return to Akavir and exact severe retribution for the disaster at Ionith and for our fallen emperor. But that day is not now, nor in the foreseeable future.